was the I think that was probably like the biggest news for like the day, but it's followed in my mind pretty closely by the Stellar Blade
We're gonna have like a
controversies.
running theme going through this episode with the
Well, okay, so are you guys caught, Cody? I'm sure you are with Stellar Blade,
stellar boobs and ass. Yes,
Stellar boobs.
I don't even know what this is.
Okay, so
it's kind of a rabbit hole.
okay. Yes.
I like
So-
rabbits.
The other week we talked about so the other week we brought up Stellar Blade because IGN was forced to apologize because IGN France
Yeah, IGN France.
came out and just defamed the company. It was a Shift Up studio. They just defamed the shit out of it.
So yeah, like Stellar Blade was getting a lot of heat or whatever because they had an attractive main heroine in the game, and so like IGN France was like, the developer or creator or whatever's never even seen a woman, blah blah blah. And here, like the creative director, his wife, which also works at the company, is like the model for Stellar Blade. So yeah, and they're like, oh, we better retract that one, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's so yeah. So IGN got their asses whooped on that one.
Yeah, what do you do? Like, that's not how a real woman is, and she like walks in. I'm right here.
Right.
Well, she's a model from I think Korea. The main player model, the main character, is actually modeled after a real life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a real person to give a real example. So
And they just hate
gotta
her
eat
because
crow.
she's so pretty.
Right, and then they did the same thing with Star Wars Outlaws that's coming out. They had a really attractive model or whatever for the chick, and then they uglified the shit out of her.
They made her fugly as all holy hell.
Was
And
it like they put her picture next to Matt Damon from Team America? It's like you can't unsee it.
First off, I love that picture. But
Not Damon.
the studio really hasn't been.
Damon.
Shift Up hasn't flexed at all on
No,
this
because
front.
they're Eastern developer.
Yeah.
They're not caving to some woke Western ideals. That's just destroying entertainment.
Yeah, it's awesome that independent studios are standing up, like, and
Yeah.
pushing back. Because
Well, with like the game, video game sphere too, it's so decentralized that it doesn't really matter. Like if the AAA ones want to do what they're doing, it's like there's tons of other developers and publishers and indie spaces and stuff to go into.
yeah,
It's not like Hollywood or whatever, where they basically control all the movies.
well, this goes back to like a running theme on the channel where I'm always like, games should be coming. I mean, everything should be getting better and easier to make and easier to run. And for some reason, it's getting more expensive, harder, and you have to go through all these extra hoops and shit.
Yeah.
But really, as long as you can afford a software, you have a decent enough computer to run, and you have time on your hands, and some knowledge of how to operate it. I mean, you could even self-teach yourself and make like a 2D scroller game with some
for sure.
time.
And we've seen a lot of these smaller studios make huge successes. Like Power Worlds is a perfect example. What was that, like 9 people, and one was an intern?
Yeah, and they didn't they release an update like the other week with
Yeah,
like
I haven't played for like a solid 3 or 4 months
Didn't
now.
they have
but
like
yeah.
8 million concurrent viewer or
It was
players
nuts.
at one
I think it was
point?
more than that.
Oh, jeez.
They sold a crazy amount of stuff. Like
It's still in early access too, ain't it?
I think because I referenced this in my last game review. I think the highest concurrent was 12.5 million.
Holy.
I want to
Concurrent players at one time, not even like
Right,
That was
not
peak,
throughout
I
the
believe.
day.
Yeah.
I want to pause for just a quick second. We got a few people jumping into the chat. We'll be talking and answering and engaging with your guys' chats in between topics. So if you guys have any questions or if you want to know anything or if you have want to add anything, we'll go through your comments and chats in between our topics as we're able to. So please make sure to shout out anything you got, anything you want to know. Just holler it out, and as we're changing topics, we'll make sure to address in the chat. But
We
we
will
appreciate
keep ignoring you.
that all of, we appreciate and love that all of you guys are here.
We're
Thank
doing
you
a
guys
job
so
here.
much. We're doing work. We're doing God's work. We're doing God. No, the Stellar Blade. I love that the studio is smashing back at all these game developers who are just all these game developers who are pushing against it. I mean, you have one decent looking character among like 20 of the AAA games that have come out, and they have to just shit on it because it's the mole that stood out of the hole.
Yeah, because of this coming out, there's been a lot of content creators who are putting out videos just like comparing like a bunch of the last like couple years of games and like chicks in it, and then comparing it to this one, and it's just like, yeah, there's insane. Like The Last of Us, you got a bunch of just one's a built ass like trans chick that's like bigger than I am.
Yeah, I mean,
And then and then Spider-Man 1 and 2, like you got MJ, which looks alright in the first one. Then they just like square her jaw off to cut steel in the second one.
yeah, it's freaking. Honestly, it's absolutely stupid. I don't really, I can't really go game by game on like the aesthetics of characters because the Eastern developers tend to have games that focus on more, good looking characters, or they even go.
People like looking at attractive people.
Yeah, and so
It's science.
you
Yeah.
kind of
Men
crack
and
the
women
code.
alike.
You kind of crack the code.
Everyone likes boobs.
But I don't like the only way. And first off, you have this would be what you'd consider like the woke people. Like this would be the thing you'd expect them to love because you have an empowered woman who is a model and doing.
She's too
That's
pretty.
the main protagonist too.
That she's the leader of this. I mean, if Stellar Blade kicks off to keep going with more games, I mean, this is what you're. I thought this was what you fucking wanted. I thought this was the whole point.
People were like, "Yeah, we'll play the demo. Why not check it out?" And then it ended up being really good gameplay too. And they're like, "Oh shit! All right,
I need a-
It's not just a pretty face.
I need a fat trans person in a wheelchair in order to love this
Shoots
game.
rockets."
Shoots rockets from their asshole. I can't understand. None of this makes any
Like
damn
that one
sense.
cripple female Spider-Man that came out. Did
Yeah.
you see that? Swinging around with a wheelchair on their back. It's like, how the fuck do you land? You go
Very-
splats, pick yourself up, put yourself in a wheelchair.
very gently.
Honestly, I this is a game I might be forced to try. This wouldn't normally be on my radar as a game I'd want to play or try.
Have you ever played a Souls game? It's got kind of like Souls-like
Oh
combat. so
gosh.
I haven't.
you're not good at those either.
I'm never touching it.
I played a single Dark Souls game, I just couldn't get past like the tutorial.
Same here.
I was so
There was
bad
just,
at
like
it.
Souls 3 was on sale for like $5 one time. I'm like, it's $5. Died like to the first boss 10 times. I'm like, this is dumb. I quit. Uninstall.
It was like having a heart attack facing the first boss in Souls 3. And then like every time you like get past it or whatever, and you're just heart pounding, like stepping away from the game, it's like, I thought I was gonna play this too, like remove some stress, but I think I'd
So
rather.
much more stress.
I think I'd rather be working right now.
I've never been more stressed in my life.
I don't know. I like Sekiro. That was a good one.
I mean,
As long as it's got like a parry button, I'm kind of cool.
what's the one that came out that was super popular? Like
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, yep.
That was pretty good too. I
Yeah.
played a few hours of that.
Honestly, so are you
That's
guys?
the most accessible one if you want to get into it.
That's true.
It's a part of the same universe or
No.
not?
That's
Okay.
completely its own thing.
George
Different
R.
of it.
Martin played a little bit in the lore of it. I don't know how much because it's not. They're not very story focused at all.
Not really.
You gotta like read
It's-
items
I
and
was about
stuff.
to say it's just like Dark Souls, where it's a lot of reading, dumb notes. Who
Yeah.
likes reading?
Right. Tell me what the story is.
Tell me.
Get an NPC to spit into my face.